Welcome back to Under the Covers Music Podcast. I am your host, Jett. This is your host, Nick.
Hello.
Cheers. So this is our podcast, UTC Music Podcast, where we just pull up some of our favorite songs, period. Not from our past or present or future.
Yeah, okay.
Neither.
Yep, I agree with that.
All of that.
Yep.
We don't have any future favorites yet because that's not a thing.
Yeah. It'd be weird if it was.
So anyway, we pick some of our favorite songs and we talk about them, which we're about to do. We're about to do
that. Yeah. The awesome part is there has been no booze on set yet, except for me. I
could not right now.
I've started one.
Why?
I don't know why. I think a long time ago you decided that you and the intro were not friends.
We did.
And you've never gotten along since.
Oh, God.
I don't know why, because the intro loves you.
Yeah.
Are you in the intro of Frenemies?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
That's what it feels like.
Oh, my Lord. I mean, to know me is to love me.
I think I'm going to keep all this.
Okay.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah? Anyway, so we pick our favorite songs. We talk about them interview style like this because it's fun to go back and forth about how we feel about these songs because we always have a lot of feels. And then we play them, but not the real song. We play the song. And he's on guitar, I'm on vocals.
I just think it's funny. Like, I had never considered the idea of we play it like we put the song on the stereo and then have people listening to it until you said that right there. I was like,
I could get misunderstood.
Yeah.
We play the song. Oh, so?
Okay. Which, one of my favorite comedians, he has a podcast where he does that.
See?
Yeah, this is sort of like his own radio station.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
No, it's just, I never thought that before, but as soon as you said it, I was like, yeah, that is a thing. So yeah, it's funny.
So to financially support this episode and future episodes.
Yeah, to pay for what you're seeing right now.
You know you want more.
You're going to get more.
Yeah. So we do have a Patreon. It's UTC Music Podcast.
Padcast.
Padcast.
Because we're from Boston all of a sudden.
Help me!
You want to listen to a fucking podcast?
Oh, my Lord. Crying. Water in my eyes.
Oh, this is good.
Anyways, so yeah. So we do that, and then you can donate because you can get more of this stuff. This is like a live blooper reel, and I apologize.
This is a 4-minute intro, by the way.
Yeah, okay. So anyway.
Really good.
On with the show. On with the show. Anyway, UTC Music Podcast / or is it backslash? Anyway.
Patreon.com / UTC Music Podcast.
Thank
there it
you.
Is. Yep.
Son of a bitch.
That's all right. That's all right.
He still loves me.
If you are already a Patreon member, thank you. If you are not already a Patreon member, you need that sweet cash. Keep this going.
Yeah, you get bonus episodes, lots of blooper reels because we're really good at that. And it's Nick's turn.
It is my turn.
To pick a song.
I picked a song.
Yep.
And my fingers are kind of wishing that I didn't.
Yeah, this was like an all-day struggle.
It's funny because it feels like sometimes we have difficulty getting through a song because it has all of the feels and it works us up and we really have to sort of... But it's not very often that a song is just super difficult to get through. And I wouldn't say that this one was hard to learn as far as playing and singing and getting... But man, like some of the chord forms this guy uses were a nightmare on the left hand.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, that was wow. That was kind of a lot.
Yeah.
And it sounds deceptively simple when you hear the song. You're like, oh, there's no way that's going to be hard.
And that's not the first time this has happened.
No,
we've also chosen songs that we thought were going to be simple.
You know what I noticed? Also on the acoustic guitar, I think I'm just not good at playing acoustic.
Well, you don't on a regular basis, so it's kind of like...
I don't, but I don't seem to be getting any better at it.
Well.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, so we did an acoustic version of this song, but that was murder on the fingers, but we did it all the same.
And it's almost like I tortured you for no reason, because I like would get through half of the song and then fuck up a lyric. And sorry. And yeah. So it was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 takes before we got this one.
Well, I feel like I might have kind of jinxed us at the beginning because I was like, hey, this is really tough in the hands. Like, I probably only have a couple of takes in me, so let's just, get through it, as best we can.
I got you, bro.
Yeah. And then, like, all these takes were going fine, but then something would go off the rails and be like, oh, we got to stop. I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. But then, like, it was like a long sort of like recovery of, let me just give myself like a little hand massage before we get this going again, because kind of a lot to do.
You might be sore tomorrow.
Well, yeah, maybe. Yeah, it certainly is nothing to be upset about, but it was like every time we stopped, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to do this again.
Yeah. It was emotional torture for me because I knew that he was like, ow.
That's why I felt like I jinxed it. If I hadn't said anything, we probably would have, like 2 or 3 takes would have been done. But
of course.
Yeah, this was like 7 or 8. Whatever. But, you said in the middle, like, oh, I feel so bad for putting you through this. And and my answer was like, what are you really putting me through? Like, okay, it's a little uncomfortable, but I get to sit here and make music all day with you and then talk about, like, that's fantastic. Like, if that just means my hand's a little uncomfortable for an hour or so, whatever. Like, it's not a big deal. Yeah. That's the price you pay, I guess.
Okay. So what made you choose this song?
So...
Demons?
Yep. Yeah, I wanted to get that cough out. So I really chose this. I think there's a pretty well-documented history, certainly on this show, of I don't listen to lyrics very much. I hear them, obviously. I like when I hear songs that I like, understanding what they're saying is such a huge hurdle for me to get past. Like, I almost wonder if I have a disorder of just like, I just don't get, well, like, what are you saying? Like, none of these, I hear sounds, I don't know that these are words. And that's for even our band. Like, you sing things and like 90% of what you sing, I don't know what you're saying. Yeah. Not because you're not enunciating, but just because my brain is not processing that. Right. So it's just, okay. So I did finally look at this song, and I knew for a while that I wanted to do a cover of this band because they're one of my favorites. And this is definitely off of my favorite album by them. But it's funny because it's not my favorite song by them. And on the album that it's on, the album starts off with some bangers. I mean, this is it's my favorite album of theirs, but I think probably collectively most people can agree that it's either this album, which is their 4th, or their 3rd album, are kind of their best pieces of work. They're still making great music. They've put out 10 albums now. Wow. But yeah, like the album starts off with these bangers, and then this song comes on 4th-ish, and it feels like this is sort of where it kind of turns a little more introspective, and it finishes really strong as well. But you hear this shift in the album where everything's sort of like these big rock songs, and then this starts to come down a little bit, and then after this song it gets further and further subdued and down and whatever, and then sort of comes back up, which is I think a great formula. I think it worked really, really well for them on this disc. But when I looked at the lyrics for this, these were something that I identified with a little bit more. And I did have to kind of go to you and be like, hey, listen, I like this song and I really want to do it, but this is not reflective of our relationship by any means. It is reflective of...
we always qualify this stuff.
Yeah, I know.
I don't need that.
Yeah, nobody needs it. But I'm super glad that you don't need it. No. But I think it was important to me to even just say it out loud and work it out, to say, oh yeah, I identify with what this writer has gone through, where the song is really about really trying to make a relationship work that's not working, or being strung along or being kind of led by the nose through where you think something is going one way or you're really hoping it's going to happen a certain way and it never really does, and you can't really extricate yourself. You really just keep throwing everything you have at it. When I read that and understood that a little bit more, that really resonated to me of, oh yeah, that's definitely, like, everyone's been in those kind of relationships. I was in a lot of those kind of relationships in my 20s, for sure.
Through your 20s or 4, I think.
Yeah, that's what I feel like too.
Yeah.
Like your 20s or like your teens are just sort of like exciting, like, oh, we're dating, like, oh, I get to touch parts, that's awesome. And then your 20s are kind of like you're with people that you probably shouldn't be with, not because either one of you, but you're just not a good fit. Or you're not picking up like, oh, that's what this person needs. You don't understand that yet.
Right.
So you're just sort of, you're in it, you're just trying to force it through. And then you get some maturity, hopefully you get some maturity and then have a good relationship. So reading all of that and recognizing like, oh yeah, I've definitely been through that. It made me value all over again. Thank God I don't have that relationship with you. It's so awesome. It's so great. It's so nice. Like, so glad that that's not what we have to deal with.
We don't. No.
And, it's not an age thing, because there are plenty of people that we know that are friends that are our age that are going through exactly what this song is talking about. And we're like, oof, yeah, that's tough, man. But kind of like what you said, like, we've all been there. So, like, we understand it.
However long it takes you to get through what you need to get through and learn something from it, like, just do it. Mm-hmm. Just do it. Yeah. Just keep going.
Yeah. So that's really why I chose this song. Mm-hmm. I like this song, certainly. It's not my favorite song, even on this album. It's not my favorite song of theirs. But it's by a band I really love. I really like the lyrical content. Playing it was fun, even though I said, like, yeah, it's really tough on the left hand. But it was fun to learn it and understand it and get to know it a little bit. And then when we started rehearsing it for the show, we played it the way they played it first. Mm-hmm. And we were like, okay, well, like, that's sort of like just a straight up 1-to-1 cover. Like, okay, everybody gets it. And I said, well, what if we were to change it up a little tiny bit or make it ours a little bit? And I threw a couple of ideas out there. And I think it's a little clear. It feels like I'm talking so much right now. I'm like taking so much away. But it feels a little... It feels a little cliche of like when you go acoustic, you slow it down and you whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay. So when we were talking about, okay, how can we change this and make it ours a little bit? That was sort of a natural transition to make. Mm-hmm. But I still wanted to do it the way they do it. So we ended up doing it twice, actually.
Yeah.
So what we'll see on the show, I almost said what we're going to show on the show, which sounded repetitive. What you'll see on the show at the end is our version of this song. But we also recorded a version that's a little more faithful to how they do it, which is a little more upbeat, a lot of it's only downstrokes, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And we're going to save that for the Patreon. So Patreon members, you will get 2 versions of this performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun to do both.
It was fun.
And it's not like our version was even really slowed down. It was just not as much strumming.
It takes a step back, but
with the downstrokes, I just naturally put more power behind it, which is kind of funny. Yeah, it's
it's funny. Like, as soon as we did that, it felt like, to me, and I said this to you, and you're like, yeah, okay, I can see that. To me, it felt like it almost changed the purpose of the lyrics. So even though the lyrics don't change, you just change the way you play it and you slow it down a little bit. Their version, the original semi-upbeat version, is someone that's getting strung along and is like, hey, I'm really tired of this. I kind of wish, like, I could wrap this up and move on to the next thing. You get this sense of frustration from the singer. And then when you slow it down a little bit, even though the words are the same, it felt like we were getting more of a sense of not desperation, but hey, I'm really trying to make this work. Instead of like, oh, I'm so over trying to make this work. You're like, please let me make this work.
It was like, I'm so tired.
Yeah. So it was interesting to get that different dynamic just by changing the tempo a little bit. I thought that was neat.
It is cool. It is cool how that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just then the way you play it. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to know if people who know this song see that and recognize that similar change, or if they get the same thing out of it. Mm-hmm. I have no idea.
When did you start listening to this band?
Ooh, So the first time I heard them was an ex-girlfriend played them for me when we were in the car going to, I remember this really clearly. We were in the car coming home from a different concert. It wasn't these guys. And
Who was it? Do you remember?
yeah, it was Nine Inch Nails. Which I'm not a Nine Inch Nails fan by any means. And I was not interested in them whatsoever. And I'm still like not a huge fan. But I really sort of blew them off, whatever. And then in like maybe, early I don't remember what year, but there was one year that an ex-girlfriend who I was still friendly with, and we still keep in touch and stuff. She said, "Hey, I'm going to this show in Orlando. I know you don't like these guys, but I've got an extra ticket. Do you want to go?" And I was like, "Okay, like why not?" Wow, like that was. It was an incredible, amazing experience, visually and presentation wise. Far and away the best concert I've ever been to.
Dude delivers, man.
It was unbelievable. It was incredible, and it was this tour that they were on that they got all kinds of awards for like, oh, this is the level of production here is nuts. So I was really surprised and impressed, and that goes to show you, like, guys, go to every concert you can. When you go to shows, stay for every band because you don't know who's going to blow your mind, and you never know when you're going to see your next favorite artist. Yeah. You have no idea.
Yeah. Case in point, so girlfriend of mine, like she and I have been together for about, I don't know, 30 years now. But she got tickets to see the Crystal Method and Rabbit the Moon. They're coming together. Mm-hmm. I almost lost my shit. I was like, oh my God. She said, we just got tickets. I'm like, hang on a second. Yep. And I was in your kitchen at the time. I was like, do you want to go? Please say yes. Like, he's not into any of these bands, but this is going to be an historic show. So, yes. Thank you for saying yes.
Yeah. And well, I mean, it's kind of that rule of like, you might go and you might be thrilled. Like, worst case scenario, you went to a show with someone you like spending time with. Yeah. Okay. Like, it's whatever. That's fine. That's great. So anyway, so back to
segue.
So the first time I heard them, she played some early stuff of theirs, which is not really how they sound now. At the time, it was pretty indie, pretty post-punk, indie label kind of stuff. Like, they didn't sound like Hot Water Music, but it was in that sort of indie vein of that style, of that genre. And I was like, okay, I get it. And after their first two albums, I don't remember 100%, but I think they were let go by their label. They were they were looking around for another label, and they mostly self-produced their third album.
Oh, wow.
And that got picked up by a major label, and they were like, all right, we'll give this a shot. And that was like stratospheric success.
Yeah, I mean, lucky you to that label, because lucky you.
Yeah, for sure. And that was the album that really propelled them into superstardom. I mean, they have literally like 1 billion spins on one of those songs off of that album. Like, it's crazy. And for a long time, especially like in that time period, the early 2000s, I mean, every movie trailer that you saw that was like a fun, coming of age comedy definitely had them in the soundtrack every single time. Damn. Like, it was huge. It was huge.
Wow.
And that's sort of where I picked up and was like, oh, okay, like, yeah, this is really great. So, it was a little like on that bandwagon. But then their fourth album came out, and I was blown away at how incredible it was.
And didn't you have like a 2020 experience with them?
Oh, what do you mean? Oh, a COVID experience?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll tell you about that in a second. But they had this incredible fourth album that is still my favorite. That is what the song is on. And most of their other stuff, I always liked it, but I was like, well, that was sort of the high point. And I like their other stuff, but not as much as his other stuff. Or I would listen to it and be like, okay, I get it. It's fine. And move. But then I finally got to see them live. I had never seen them before. And then I saw them maybe in 2013 or 14.
Oh, okay.
I saw them at the Hard Rock in Orlando. And all of the stuff that I was kind of okay with, just like lukewarm on, seeing it live, I was like, oh, Yes. Now I see like where the energy of this is. Like they
Wow.
translate. Usually it's the other way around. Usually
I
people
know.
are better on the album than they
Yes,
are live.
yes.
Not these guys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're amazing. They are amazing.
A lot of times that's why I don't go to shows these days
Mm-hmm.
because, well, especially because bands are older and stuff, but like, that's not always, that's not always a reason not to go. But I feel like they're not going to bring the level that their production album brings.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder about that. So a lot of times I skip, and I shouldn't. I shouldn't. I should still just go.
So I do have a COVID story about them, but we only have 3 minutes left. So maybe that's something that we do on
Bonus?
Patreon. Yeah.
Okay. Patreon will hear it.
Yeah, it is really
It's
good
a fun
stuff.
story.
Yeah. Oh, it is fun. Yeah,
it's a really fun
we'll
story.
save it.
Okay. Okay.
We'll save it.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
That's because of my long intro, because I don't know what I'm doing ever. Oh my God.
Oh, that's. It's not that you don't know what you're doing. It's that you and the intro are not friends.
Just ad-lib my way through life. I'm here. What do we want to do? Okay. Like, once we get going, I'm all right. But anyway, would you like to intro the song?
Yeah.
Before we run out of time.
Yeah, I would love it.
Back to me.
So from their album Futures, this is Kill by Jimmy Eat World. And Patreon members, come visit us over there and see a second version of that.
Well, you're just across the street. Looks a mile to my feet. I wanna go to you. Funny how I'm nervous still. I've always been an easy kill. I guess I'll always be. Could it be that everything goes round by chance, or only one way, that it was always meant to be? You kill me, you always know the perfect thing to say. Hey, 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 I know what I should do, but I just can't walk away. I can picture your face well from the bar in my hotel. I wish I'd go to you. I pick up, put down the phone, like your favorite Heave Miser song goes. It's just like being alone. Oh God, please don't tell me this has been in vain. I need answers for what all the waiting I've done means. You kill me, you've got some nerve, but can't face your mistakes. Hey, 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 I know what I should do, but I just can't turn away. So go on, love. Leave while there's still hope for escape. Gotta take what you can these days. There's so much ahead and so much regret. I know what you wanna say. I know it, but can't help feeling differently. I loved you and I should have said it. But tell me, just what has it ever meant? I can't help it, baby. This is who I am. can't just go turn off how I feel. You kill me, you build me up, but just to watch me break. Hey, I know what I should do, but I just can't walk away.
Thank you for watching this episode of Under the Covers. Please like, share, subscribe, and don't be afraid to get into our comments. New episodes drop the 1st and 15th of every month, so please keep coming back for more. If you're interested in bonus episodes, blooper reels, what else? Extras. That's pretty broad, extras. Reaction videos. Yeah, we do a lot of those. We have a Patreon channel that has all of those things. It's really great. It's patreon.com/UTC Music Podcast. It's the same place you can find us at Instagram and Facebook. So look for us everywhere, UTC Music Podcast, and thank you for watching. I like stumbling over words.